Peace YouTube, this is Fleur coming to today with an emergency discussion. So I want to make a public announcement first before we begin this communication. If you have any little ones, please, this is not a broadcast. This is not for any little ones to listen to. If you are highly sensitive to offensive and reptilian type of low field behavior, I suggest that this is not a broadcast you should listen to. You are about to witness a full-blown reptilian in his lowest form, threatening to rape, and we are going to address this as a family. Many of you need to see what the agents, the government agents, have put into our neighborhoods. They've implanted these reptilian agents, and we're going to start off. So I just ask that you take your time and put all the little ones out of the room.
Not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. Weapons of Class 4 and lower have been authorized for use during the purge. All other weapons are restricted. Government officials of ranking 10 have been granted immunity from the purge and shall not be harmed. Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder, will be legal.
Okay, family. Now, like I said, for anyone who's joining us today, you know I have a listen because it's applicable and appropriate. This broadcast is not for you to listen. If you are highly sensitive, if you are an empath, if you're a light worker, this might offend you. This might infect your mind. You're about to witness a low field, a governmentally incepted being that has been and placed inside of our repertoire of our community. He is threatening sexual rape to another young man. This is something that might be offensive. His language, his shape-shifting might offend you. I'm asking that if you have little ones, please remove them from the room. You know how we are as mothers and fathers. We're very protective of our young. So I ask that you do that. Cleanse yourself. If you have any Palo Santo, it's going to be highly disgusting. We're going to address this, and also we're going to command for the military and the governmental officials in Mexico to act predators. Who is the predator? Not only is young and is young women that are mentally ill. He is a predator. Not allow this to happen. So with no further ado, like I said, please place all the little highly conscious community to rape him. This is something that might bother you for days. So please cleanse now, burn your Palo Santo, get your black candles out. It's about to be on and popping. So let's. You're going to first see Agent 1 before we actually get into the actual this reptilian. We're going to hear what started unfolding. There is something protecting that being. Anytime I talk about him, my doors are closing, things are changing, things are glitching. It's because he has demonic reptilians from the 4D protecting him and aiding him. So I ask that everyone just cleanse themselves, send out positive energy so that we may witness this without allowing it to change our frequency. Okay, so everyone who is called, I see they're gonna try to do this. Let's get into it right away so we don't have any more glitching. All right, family? Let's start off with Agent Smith #1, Brother Polite, versus Agent Smith, Reptilian, Lowfield Reptilian Predator, Eligio Bishop. It starts off with this. Let's get into it.
Like the brother. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make sure I understand that. I want to make sure that according to you, money is evil and you didn't used to use money. Is this correct?
Yeah, we never use money. We didn't have to use money.
Yeah, where you
We
getting these
use
ideas?
morals. Yes. We didn't have to use money, we have morals. Morals is the only thing that we need for trade. In a society, in a civilization, morals is the only thing that we need for trade. Because we have morals so highly standard, that we didn't even need money. You use that money as a promissory note that says that you can trust me because I have this dollar which is backed up by some natural resource. But the truth is, all we got is each other. And we should have the morals to not lie, to not steal, to care about each other like you care about your brothers. As we used to have that at one point when we was in tune with the earth and in tune with our true essence, which is nature. We had those morals when we didn't even need money. We have to get back to that state. You understand what I'm saying, brother?
I hear you. I understand what you're saying. So now I need to be part of this conversation. I'm hearing the things you say.
Told you, man.
I need to be part of this conversation. So, used to have money, and in fact, money is evil, and in fact, money, we dealt with morality, and we used to exchange morality, correct?
Right. Basically, what that means is that there was a golden rule called do unto others as you have them do unto yourself.
Okay.
So with that.
You know why I don't let kids there? You know why I don't let kids around me, other people, kids around me? Because the way I am. See, me, I like to be naked. Let me tell you a little something about Nature Boy. See, me, I'm a real human. See, my kids, when I see my son, this is how I treat my son. We naked together. My son started being ashamed of his body. And I seen it happen. I didn't want that to happen. They made him ashamed of his body. They showed him that he was naked. I did not want him to know he was naked. I said, son, look here. I didn't even want him to be in a world where he knew he was naked. I wanted my son to be so pure that he never knew he was naked. I take bath with my kids. I'm naked with my kids. I have sex in front of my kids.
Bitch, what?
I have sex in front of my kids. I have sex in front of my kids. I'll never be ashamed of sex. My son be breastfeeding, I'll be making love to his mom. That's me, bro.
Bitch, what?
That's how I get down around kids. I try to keep their purity. I don't want to take their purity away by covering myself up. They're going to be ashamed to cover themselves up. And I'm pure at heart. So you can think in your mind, if I let another kid here, I'm going to have to change the way I am so that your kid can be comfortable around me. No, I'm going to be naked as fuck in front of your kids.
Bitch, what?
My son comes up and grabs my penis.
Bitch, what?
My son comes up and grabs my penis.
I don't like that shit. For sure, bro. I don't like that shit.
I let him grab my penis. I had sex with his mom. I'm making love to his mother. After I'm done, I'm laying there chilling. He grabbed my penis. And he's playing with my penis. I let that happen.
My shit got flagged. I put the receipts up.
Fuck
Now,
out of here. Let's talk about the daycare.
I put the receipts up, but let's talk about that dead woman.
Bro, listen.
Have you not
Bro, you
been
not man
ciphering
enough,
money
yo.
out of the dead
You not
woman's
man
account?
enough. You's a boy. You not
Have
man
you,
enough.
have you
You's
not
a
been
little
ciphering
boy.
money out of the dead woman's
You a
account?
little
Yes or
docile
no?
little boy, man.
Yes or
You
no?
a little boy.
So,
You a little boy.
Key's
You
mother
really are.
You a stupid ass nigga. Why would I ask you a question? Let me ask you a question, you stupid ass nigga. Do you think I would post this on the internet that I left the state without no permission? You stupid ass nigga. What's wrong with you? Who told you the internet, man? The internet, right? What's wrong with you? The internet give cowards an outlet, boy. Yeah, okay. I don't fly to Buffalo. We don't got a coward, bro. Fly to Buffalo, bro. Fly to Buffalo. No, you can't beat me, my nigga. Okay. You know you can't beat me. Fly to Buffalo, bro. Boy, I like 5'3", nigga. I will piss on you. I will slap the herpes out your little man. I will slap your ass back straight. Little man, I will slap your ass back straight. Boy, I'm a real man, nigga. I'm a real man, nigga. You better get a weapon, nigga. You a real your ass, nigga. I said real ass, nigga. You ain't no fucking real man, nigga. Real man, you a little nigga. You's a little boy, nigga. I'm a real man, up, homie. Real man, what the fuck is you gonna do about it? EJ, I know you. What the fuck you gonna do? Whenever you
Apologize for you. Go and cleanse yourself. Please go and clear yourself. I am so sorry. Please, for anyone who is offended, I did give you a preamp warning. Please cover yourself. Please get some Palo Santo, smudge yourself. Everyone, I know this is highly, highly disgusting. I had to show you what a low-field reptilian looks like. Their behavioral patterns, their narcissistic behavior, the sociopathic energy surrounding them. This being has been someone that I made sure initially when I saw him shapeshift online, and I had spoken to him before that I found out that he is a governmental agent that has been placed into the pseudo-conscious community to lure young women that are mentally ill, women that cannot think for themselves, that are having a hard time, that they're children of special needs children that are lured to this man who is now living in Mexico. Why I had to make this video is because I'm really disgusted. He had threatened to rape this young man publicly. He is publicly stating that he wants to rape this young man. Do you hear what he says? We cannot allow these type of low-field reptilians to walk around and prey on our young people. This is Disgusting. I am up in arms, and I am not going to stay here and allow this type of venomous, type of disgusting, low, sick behavior to go on anymore. I'm asking for all our light workers, for all our mothers, for all our fathers, for those who are caretakers of the earth, to stand together and band together to disallow this type of being to perpetually keep continuing his cycle of abuse. He is one of those, and I had to show you what a low-field, narcissistic reptilian looks like. He is not only preying on the mentally ill and socially handicapped women that are part of his camp. He has left the country. We have also had word, and this is something that is allegedly he has a disease. I'm going to contact the CDC because he is also allegedly infecting young women with perhaps the HIV/AIDS virus. This is allegedly. We don't know how to have a fact, but we do know that this is something that a couple of people have also said that they noted he's doing. This is why he is having sex with every single woman that goes to his camp. He is not only just having sex with the ones that coming to him, he's making sure that allegedly he may be infecting the other ones sleeping with the other men in the camp so that everyone may allegedly be holding these viruses. I have a problem because I'm really disgusted that I have to get a video of a young man. Now, I know many of you know young Pharoah. He is, a young adult. But as a woman of a certain age, I cannot sit here as an adult and allow this to happen. We need our alpha males, our Latino males in Mexicano. If you are in Mexico and you're in Central America, I'm calling for you. I'm calling for you to disallow this. This man is a predator. We have one older woman that died in his care. If you care about the state of our planet and about the women that are walking around, we cannot allow this type of being to walk around freely. I suggest that everyone contact the authorities to denote that this man is going around making blatant threats to young men to threaten them and rape them. We know that his origin is not human. I know that for a fact. I can't say anything other than that, because obviously if we tell the authorities that he's a reptilian, they won't take us very seriously. So I'm calling for our light workers to send send energy to resolve and to make sure that this entity cannot harm another sea star. I think it's very sad that there are young ladies being lured by this beast it was initially in Costa Rica and Honduras, and now he's in Mexico. So I hope that we're able to contact the authorities. When I saw this video, it broke my heart. I know many people, yes, he's the reincarnation of Jim Jones. I personally think that myself. And like I said, allegedly, he may have a disease that he is purposefully infecting with all of these women that he's trying to impregnate. And also, he's making sure that everyone has the same alleged disease that he may be harboring himself. We ask that the authorities make sure they address him, that they're able to take him in for questioning and also test him. Because if he is blatantly having sex with these women and these men with knowing that he has a disease that could kill people potentially, it's considered what is it considered to be potential homicide if he is knowingly has a major disease that could kill people and he is not disclosing. Nobody is using prophylactics. It's very, very sad. And for those who don't know this being, please be careful. And like I said, I don't ever want to expose anyone to this because I think it's very sad, but you have to know what's out there. They are placing these low field. This is a governmental agent. He said so himself. He was implanted in there. Unfortunately, Dr. Sebi died because this man went there. This is allegedly what I think to be is that when he was placed there, he was placed there purposefully because Dr. Sebi was going to leave. I'm really disgusted. When I saw this video sent to me of him blatantly saying he was going to rip this young man's butthole open and rape him, and he said it over and over, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with grown men who are predators, who are preying on our young people and impregnating little girls that are mentally ill, that are socially handicapped, and he's doing this and nothing is being done. I made sure initially years ago when I first found out. I did blow the spot on this, but this is disturbing. I'm very disgusted, and I'm very concerned about the welfare of any young women on the location where he is staying. I'm concerned for any young men that may be there also. I'm concerned about the health and well-being of any children that will be born into that tribe. I'm really very, very concerned. And again, this is so serious that I had to make a video. It is also to detail that there are beings here residing on this planet that are purposefully being placed in all communities. It doesn't matter if you're being placed in the conscious, pseudo-conscious community. They're being placed in the light workers community. We know light workers. One of the light workers, allegedly is collecting menses blood from some of the women to do rituals on women. What are we allowing? We have control. We're taking back our planet. We cannot have these type of beings walking around doing harm and making blatant threats to rape a young man live on YouTube, and nothing goes undone. What else do we have to see? We see the pains and we see the murders. We can make a choice right now to stand against any more predators harming our young people. I think it's disgusting. He has a very substantial following of very mentally ill people, because anyone watching that man make that threat to that young man about opening up his, ripping over his anal cavity and raping him and calling him, I made sure I told you that he likened him to a little boy. He kept saying, "You're a little boy." What grown man would tell a man that he thinks is a boy, tell him over and over, "You're a little boy," and then threaten to rape him? How disgusting is that? He's had sex with numerous young ladies over there. He may, in fact, have a venereal disease that is something that is detrimental to the health and safety of all the children and women there. We have to make sure, Mexico, I'm calling for you to really stand in arms. We made a big move in Belize. We made sure in Belize that he was not able to stay there. Belizeans, big up to Belizeans. You kicked him out of your country. I'm so grateful to you. Costa Rica, big up to Costa Rica. You kicked them out. Honduras kicked them out. We need to make sure that these reptiles that are walking around preying on little children. Did you hear this man say that he... I'm so up in arms. I'm sorry, family. Please, please, clean yourself. For all the light workers, I know some had to leave. They're purging themselves right now. They have to cleanse themselves. I did forewarn you. Listen, cleanse yourself. I have Florida water here. I have to make sure we keep clean. Where are our men? I need our soldiers. I need our wonderful sun stars to stand up. We can only do so much as the matrons of the earth. We do our part to make sure we protect the babies person to person, but we have to make sure that we have our men take care of these other men, make sure they are accountable for the crimes against our families and our children. We cannot have this type of reptilian walking around freely, allowing for all of these type of loafy. He's one of many, but he is catching wind, and he is now threatened to rape a young man. That, to me, is the most horrific thing. He's also condoning rape. He's also condoning for the fact that he has to be around children. Listen, being around children is naked is one thing, but proponing that it's okay to have sex in front of your child, that is something that I find is questionable. I think it's disgusting. I think it's despicable. I'm really sorry that this young man had to be threatened in that way publicly. And I know people will be like, "Oh, young Pharoah is a grown man." I am a seasoned woman. To me, young Pharoah could be my son. I wouldn't allow a grown man to talk to my son in that way. How dare you do that? How disgusting and despicable you are. You go there and you lure these young women there. You make sure you infect them with your demon seeds inside of them, and then make them feel low about themselves, suppress them. You disallow them from even thinking. You have them under reptilian mind control. You are a sick individual, and we are going to call the authorities. Let the authorities handle him, just like we did in Belize, just like it happened in Honduras, just like it happened in Costa Rica. We have a lot of power, family. We have to make sure, hey, young Pharaoh, oh, young Pharaoh's here. I am so disgusted, young Pharaoh. I don't want to cry. It's very sensitive. I don't like any grown man talking to a young man. And I say, young Pharaoh, I know you're a young man, but you could be my son. I don't want a grown, sick pedophile threatening you, saying such heinous things publicly and getting away with that. He needs to be addressed. So because our family is widespread, we have many of our family in Latin America, especially in Mexico. We will call in arms our people. We will make sure that our witches, our bruja, deal with you, nature not. You don't make blatant threats against a young man publicly about raping him and think that you're going to get away with it. It's disgusting what you do to those young women. It's disgusting what you do to all these young people, luring them there, infecting them with what kind of viruses that you have. We're going to make you accountable. We cannot still sit idly anymore, family. This is disgusting. We have to make sure that if we want to be the change we want to see in the world, we have to be the mothers to those young men, especially young men that are being, especially men of color that are being slaved, murdered, they're being left, they're not being taken care of. We should not be comfortable, especially our elders should not be comfortable with anyone threatening someone in this heinous way publicly, saying he was going to rip his behind open and rape him. Who does that? And because he left the country, he thinks he's safe? No, don't think that. Don't think that, nature not. We have our family all over this planet, and you will be held accountable for that deed and for what you're doing to those young ladies there. You think we don't see you? You think that you're safe sitting there in a non-jungle with all the fake Wi-Fi talking about nature? You are going to be held accountable for your deeds. We are not sitting here allowing any more of you low-field reptilians to harm our families anymore. We are taking back our planet. We have to do this, and it's going to start with you. You will be held responsible. You will be the example of what will happen to the rest of them if they do any harm to our children anymore. Any babies on this planet, they are our terrain. If you harm anybody, and listen, this is a young man. Like I said, young Pharaoh could be my son. How dare you make a threat like that publicly? How disgusting. I'm calling for all the elders to stand together. We are going to contact the Mexican authorities, tell them that this man is making blatant threats online, threatening to do harm and rape people. He's apparently been accused of pedophilia before, which he verbally and publicly denoted that he thinks is acceptable for their spiritual growth. We are going to make sure that the authorities are contacted. And also, I would urge the authorities to also test him for any disease that I allegedly think he may have, especially if it's HIV and AIDS, because if he knowingly has that, we don't know for fact. I said allegedly. If he does have that and he is tested, let him be put on trial for murder, for anyone that he's been having sex with without any sort of protection and knowing darn well that he's infecting everyone there, especially those newborn babies that are not even here yet. I'm sorry, family. I'm sorry. Cleanse, please, everyone. You know, everyone cleanse. Make sure you have the Palo Santo oil. Get the sage out. I've got my Florida water. We need to do that. I'm asking for our brujas to come on board. We're going to have to make sure that this beast is taken care of, and all of the other ones who think it's okay and sit there idly and think it's okay to hurt the babies and young people. This is not going to happen. I don't care if they're young men talking. Okay, they're having a debate. That's one thing. But to blatantly say to another person you're going to rape them, I don't care if it's a female or a male. It is not acceptable. This is online. Yes, we get in beefs with each other. Yes, we have problems. Not all of us get along. But it is unacceptable for anyone to do that and to say that publicly and get away with that. Because you're in Mexico, you think you're around our wonderful Latino people that you could get away with doing that? Mexico has the most family-oriented people. They have the most beautiful people in the world. Why do you think you could go to their country and be just as dirty and diabolical? Even the drug lords have some common decency amongst the families. You are going to pay, nature not. We're not going to stand for you, reptilian, you low-field reptilian, you sociopath, you pedophile, you abuser, You cannot get away with this anymore. I've done my part initially and I stepped away. But when I hear something so blatantly, I will use my power and my prestige along Central America to make sure, like I did in Belize, I will make sure that there is accountability to you and your tribe. And for everyone in that tribe that sits there and allows that man to berate women, to talk about rape blatantly, and you don't check your pseudo master teacher, you will be held just accountable for the crimes against anyone. You sitting there complicit and complacent, allowing a grown man to say those things and not even blink an eye. You are just as responsible, and you will be held to the same degree, or if not more, for allowing someone to make those blatant threats and the things he does behind closed doors, which you know the first show I did, he's abusive to those women. He is highly, highly abusive. I showed you the first video with Brother Polite, who is another agent, and I don't give him any credence, but he had another debate with Polite. He didn't even have enough self-control of himself to even not interrupt this man 50 million times. Now listen, Polite is an agent versus agent, but you can even see in the midst of another man, he had no ability to restrain himself from over talking, from being controlling, from being abusive. How dare you? I am disgusted. I'm not tolerating it. And yes, I will use every ounce of the power and the people that we know, the beautiful mothers. We have some fabulous mothers on here, some wonderful bruja that will deal with you from going to another person's country, bringing your dirt there. We should have dealt with you when you came to the States, but a lot of our men did not step to you. This is when we need our alpha males to come and make sure that they are utilizing their strength and paralysis to protect the young women and children. We have to have our men online. We do. Because this kind of behavior cannot go on anymore. It is why our system is so sick. It is why we have a lot of these pedophiles running around in the government, because there is a lack of accountability. We have to be the change we see in the world. And I showed you this not to put you in fear, but to put us in empowerment. We cannot change what we don't acknowledge. And if we allow one little boy, one young girl to be hurt because we aren't able to address it, then maybe collectively we can address this and make sure that there's some accountability and that something like this is never done again. I think it's time that we take our power back as mothers, as aunties, as daddies, as grandmas, as grandpas, as sisters, big brothers. This is our time to make a change. We're going to the age of Aquarius. This is something that we need to see and we need to address. And I think it's necessary for all the dirt, for us to lift the rugs and see all the dust and dirt underneath the rugs. I think a lot of times we don't see it, or we don't necessarily believe it. You heard this man say this live. You heard what he said about his own child. He's saying this blatantly in other countries because there's no accountability. But what he doesn't realize is that our family is strong and large and all over this globe. And we have just as many family in Central America as we have here. So we will make sure the authorities are contacted for him making blatant threats to a young man online to rape him, and make him accountable for if he does have a disease and if he has AIDS, allegedly. If he does, we don't know. If he does, we're going to have the CDC contacted and tell them that we think that this man could be infecting women knowingly with an infectious disease that could kill them. We have to do this. I am so disgusted. Please, everybody smudge. I'm sorry. Please smudge. For our young light workers, I'm sorry. I know you're very empathetic. I know you're feeling it. You're feeling all my energy. Hey, Mom, I love you too. I know when it comes to the babies and the young people, I am an advocate for the young people. This young man could be my son. And I do not want to see another young man threatened. There are a lot of men raping little boys right now, raping young men. Bumbada was raping boys, young men in their 20s and their late teens. We allowed that to happen in the South Bronx. We have to be the change we want to see in the world. We can't let another pedophile hurt any more of our children. We can't do it. As a parent, I'm asking you to really step up and be an advocate for our children. I can't have these type of beings making blatant threats towards young men, young women. It is not acceptable. Many of us have suffered being raped and being bombarded or being abused. If we sit here and allow someone to be so blatant and so heinous online, it is a testament of our humanity or a lack of humanity. I know I'm so sensitive. I'm just disgusted. I'm so disgusted. How could someone say this blatantly and they get it? And there's babies coming. How many mothers have dealt with men like this? I know. Ugh. Who dealt with men like this? We need our men. Because we can't all do this as women. We need our men. If you don't like me, it's okay. But do something. Do something for humanity. Do something for the children. Make sure that a man can't overtly say this publicly and get away with it. It doesn't matter what country he's in. This is not okay. It's not okay for any child, any person to be threatened like that. And I know I'm very sensitive. Yes, Venus is in retrograde. But I just think I had to show you this, and I don't ever want to show you something that's going to harm your hearts. But sometimes we have to see what's underneath the rug. We have to see the boogeyman underneath the bed, and this is a boogeyman. He's a very nasty man. He's not a nice person. I worry for those women there. I do, and those babies coming. And I can't do anything here alone. So I need for our family to go wide and spread it and make him accountable. If he is harming those women, if he is infecting them with a disease, we have to do something about it. And he's not the only one we're going to deal with. There is many, many, many young people who get abused and hurt. And it's our job. It's our job. We are one earthling on one planet. We are supposed to protect each other. This behavior has gone on for far too long. We have pedophiles in the government. We have pedophiles in the school. When are we going to stop it? When are our men going to say no? No man should be able to say that to a young man and get away with it. Let the fathers and the elders step up. Go and make sure that you do something to make sure this doesn't happen anymore. It could be your son. It could be your daughter. So I'm sorry, family. You know, I get so emotionally charged. I'm sorry. I'm so disgusting. And I just wanted to make this live today to say I am an advocate for families and children. I won't sit idly and allow this to happen to any young people, especially when it's so blatant in my face. I won't allow it. I saw what he was when he went down there, and Dr. Sebi is dead. And I know he has something to do. It's my opinion. He has something to do with it. I gotta go. I love you. Please. I'm asking for everyone to contact the authorities, please. Even if it's better to be wrong. It's better to make a stand and I prefer to be wrong than to be dead right. So I'm asking for everyone, if you can, contact the authorities. Tell them we have a predator in the location. Please warn some of the families around the area that this man is there. I'm questioning their safety. Make sure that I'm going to see if the CDC can do something. If there's any laws that we have internationally, I will contact the UN. We will make sure that this is addressed. We cannot have these type of blatant threats of a grown man. How many little boys get raped all the time by men and nobody cares? Nobody says anything. We hear the girls, but it's not right. It's not right. So we have to do something about it. Okay, so I'm sorry. So, I know I just had a break. I can't with the little people. I can't, we have to do something. It's just, and he will be the example. He will have to be the example. We're going to make sure that the laws and the authorities are contacted so that if in fact he is doing what I deem him to be doing, that there's some accountability. And let this be a marker for all those who do this again, for any other man or woman who's harming children or families. Let him be the example of what happens when you do that. And I ask for our Sun Stars, if you are there in Central America and Mexico, especially in Panama, especially our family in Honduras, that you address this man and have contact the authorities so that we make sure that this doesn't happen. We have our caravan coming from parts of Guatemala and so on. We will contact as many people as we can to make sure that this man no longer feels like he can overtly go and threaten people in this way. This won't happen again. So have a wonderful weekend. I know I hate to break down, but it bothers me. If you know Fleur, the one thing you know is I'm all about families, and I am an advocate for all families, little boys, girls, women, men, fathers, everyone. And I will make sure that I do my part. I can only do my part. And like I said, if I'm wrong, let them prove me wrong. I prefer that the authorities deal with him and we make sure that those women and those children are safe than not. Okay, so I love you, family. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll get it together, but I'm going to do my part this weekend. And I just ask, I rarely ask anything of you, but this is the one time I ask for you to do something. Please light candles of protection for those babies coming in. Light protection candles for the young ladies there. I know I have a problem with the young ladies being complicit, but I think a lot of times they're not mentally well. I think they come from broken homes. I think they're looking for love. And I think he's utilizing the fact that, he's utilizing the fact that they don't have anything to come home to. So let's support and make sure that the babies are okay, because a lot of them are pregnant and we want to make sure the babies are being protected as well. All right, family. So I love you. And young Pharoah, if the elders won't protect you and I don't care what people say, you are still a young man, you are still growing up. And I think it's only righteous as a mother that could be your own mother, that I stand in protection and righteousness on behalf of you and every young man that I see is being abused or publicly threatened. Okay, so I have your back on that, and for all other young men and women that I will always stand in protection of you all. Okay, so I love you. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'm sorry if you're offended, and make sure that you all my light workers, make sure you cleanse and smudge. Okay, all right, I love you, family. Peace.